Ew. Ah, the Ford key and ignition chime. All right, that's enough of that. Well, as you saw in the intro, oh, welcome back to Doug's Cars, y'all. I wanted to say that first, but as you saw in the intro, I have the dreaded back seat floor leak in my Lincoln Town Car, Das Boot. It's a 2003, for those of you who have not followed along. It's extremely common in these, and the problem is that this car was garaged its entire life until I moved to Florida last fall. And so, you know, it probably happened to some extent, but no one ever knew about it. The problem with these cars is there is an air inlet in front of the windshield on the passenger side of the car, behind the hood, and there's a gasket around it that's like foam, and it just breaks down over time and lets water right in. And the water settles in the lowest part of the floor, which on that side of the car is the rear footwell, which leads people to think maybe you've got a seal bad on the door. I had E39 BMWs, the rear seals on the inside of the doors were made of this butyl rubber. They leaked directly into the footwells, so it was you gotta take the door panel off and fix it that way. But this is definitely that issue. It's not very difficult. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I've got my Permatex gasket maker here. I'm going to use the instructions I found online. So, you know, the internet never lies. No, but this should work. The person who did it does this all the time. Basically, you just have to remove part of the cowl, scrape off the nasty old gasket, and put the gasket sealer down on both pieces, both on the metal, on the sheet metal, and on the plastic piece, and then bolt it back down. And I should be good to go, and I should be able to get that water out, and then run this through the car wash in, because it's nasty. Stay tuned. This could be fun, or this could be a mess. This panel here, up to this part, is what needs to come off, and it's a good time to get some, you know, junk out of here as well. And yeah, you got to pull this back, of course, which reveals, I don't even know if this is attached. It's not even attached properly. That's interesting. Well, that could also be causing part of the problem because it's not sealed properly. Huh. Maybe I can just reseal it, but I'm going to use that stuff because this doesn't ever need to come off. There's no cabin air filter in these cars. There's nothing. There's no other reason to get down in there other than to vacuum some of that stuff out, but you can get it through here pretty easily. Oh, and now we have the joy of seeing what this looks like when it's opened, because of course, even though it's designed to be carried like a suitcase, it didn't get too gnarly. It's just dusty. All right, now to find out what size I need and tear that out. There's actually two Phillips heads, one here and one there. So let's see what happens when I remove these. These screws are way longer than they need to be. They're plastic. I'm still unscrewing it. They're like 2.5 inches long. Why? Why, Ford? Why? Why do they need to be this long for this little cover? Okay, now we see what needs to come off. This piece here is the one that has a seal. It goes around this opening. And you can see there's 2 bolts there, 2 bolts there, 1 here, 2 nuts here. This piece of the cowl then lifts out. And of course it's full of garbage right now because of course this car lives outside right now, but we can get all that out once we get this taken off and we can start working on the seal. These are all 8 mils and these are 11 mils. This has a little seal on it and you can see it's just completely perished. Now I just gotta kind of wiggle it out here. Should have enough room to clear, of course. Jeez, calm down there, bird. To wiggle this out underneath here. The problem, of course, is putting it back in is reversive removal, and it's just a little stuck. And voila, I got it out. So this is interesting. First off, this is the seal and it's soaking wet. I can feel it, absolutely soaking wet. So that's what we're going to be replacing. This, however, is a drain hole and it is absolutely chock full of nastiness. I had these in my E39 BMW as well, and they would get clogged and it just became a nightmare. So that's definitely getting cleaned out. Yeah, right now. All right, I got a stick and just shove that out. So it's all wet and nasty and disgusting. And you know, obviously it was not letting anything out. And this was not all from me. There's no way this just came from me. So this came from years of sitting outside, even like a parking lot. That's definitely gonna flow some water now. A whole lot better than it did. And now let's get this cleaned up in the dishwasher, because oh man, there's just water draining out of that. That's disgusting. So wet. Just gonna run this on a quick cycle here with my hub nut mug that I use for coffee, because it's gonna do better cleaning than I can. All right, y'all, I got a Publix bag here. Catch the nastiness in a scraper, and I'm just gonna go to town on this. It's kind of coming off by hand anyway. I just want to catch the remnant so it doesn't destroy the driveway. This should be quite the joy. Obviously, of course, all of this debris here needs to go away, and the surface here where the gasket will go just needs to be cleaned up a little bit. So into the bag with all the junk. A couple little pieces here still to pick out, but it's looking tremendously better. Let that dry, and then I can go about putting this here and matching it right around here. It's like a good tight seal. And like I said before, there's no cabin air filter or anything on this car, so there's no reason to go back down in there. You know, it's going to get debris in there again, but it can be vacuumed out. It's really the only way to do it, because that foam thing doesn't work. Oh, a nice thick bead. There we go. And the same right around, you can kind of see where it was. Probably going to use up the whole tube, but that's fine. That's what it's for. This is much harder to do when you're right-handed and trying to film at the same time. Let me put this down, and I'll show the final product before I put it together. So it's not pretty. I got a little overrun there on that plastic piece, but it doesn't have to be. Again, it just needs to make a good seal. Now, putting this in there one-handed, that's not going to happen. So let me go ahead and put that in. Again, you got to tuck it in. Let me see if I can set the camera up so you can see in an angle. Maybe catch me cussing when I do it wrong. There goes nothing. Now I got to get this flap in there. This underneath that. And then press it down into position. It's not quite lined up right. I think I got it. I think it's lined up. The screw holes are all lined up properly. All right, press it down. And now all I need to do is bolt it back into place. And with any luck, be good to go. Nice. Just putting in the last push pin here. Hold it in place. And believe it or not, that is all she wrote. Now, it remains to be seen if this is the correct fix for the leak. It should be. I've seen this done online. This should hold, and I put plenty of Permatex on there of gasket maker. So I'm hoping that in the next week or so, when it rains, I won't have water in my back seat. That'll be so nice. Unfortunately, going through car wash doesn't seem to really put enough water on the car. It has to be rain coming down the windshield there that actually triggers it. So I'll post an update at some point and let you all know how this is going. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Hey, you know, my car sits outside here since I moved to Florida, which is fine. I knew that, and that is how I found out about the leak. But if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do. And if like 85,000 more of you do, I might be able to afford a garage. So appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching. Hit subscribe if you've not, and stay tuned for more Lincoln, Land Rover, and more fun stuff coming up real soon. I got the Amelia Concours this weekend, and there's going to be a ton of great content coming out of that. See y'all soon.